challenges are getting bigger, threats are smarter, and businesses are still losing the battle. So why? This next session pulls back the curtain on real problems, misaligned incentives, regulatory blind spots, and a never-ending cycle of reactive security. We'll dissect the flawed strategies that keep organizations vulnerable and explore what must change to break free from these failing models. Here to provide us with a reality check on the Grand Delusion, please welcome Dr. Chase Cunningham.
I'm actually smiling in that picture, which is rare. So yeah, thank you. We're going to get into some stuff. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you because you need to hear this, and it's a very real possibility by the time this is over, I may either be unemployed or potentially sniped in the parking lot because I'm going to piss some people off. But I think we need to do that. At the end of this, unlike everybody else, I'm going to tell you how to actually make money with failure. Crazy, but just watch. This is the Grand Delusion. I think most of us in cyber continue to practice kind of a failed approach to the problem. If I hear any more folks talk about the basics are super valuable, I'm going to jump out of a window. We know that the basics are super valuable. None of this is rocket science. We've had 30 years of proof that all the AI-powered super shenanigans don't make a lick of difference, and yet people still sit around wondering, like, well, how do we solve this problem? Well, gosh, what if we did the basics? And here we have another RSA. Which, by the way, thank you for having a convention here in Orlando, because San Francisco sucks. There, I said it. About me, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. I have a podcast. I was at the National Security Agency. I'm a retired Navy chief, and I took a really cool picture of the Pentagon because no one was paying attention, and I snuck up and took that photo, so that was fun. All that in $1 will buy you a Coke. There's only been 2 times in world history that things have fundamentally changed across the board for everybody everywhere. Warfare, right? Warfare is actually where things take place. That's where we enforce our thoughts and our opinions and our economies on others. Once we started out with gunpowder, warfare fundamentally changed. It went from one-on-one, where I had to have rocks and sticks, and if I could beat your skull in that I won, to, hey, I've got a weapon I can fire from afar, and as those weapons get bigger, one person can take out hundreds of thousands potentially. Split the atom, things go forward from there. The second time was the internet. The dawn of the internet and the leak of technologies and tools like Eternal Blue and a bunch of these other solutions from NSA have basically fundamentally changed the way that we do things in cyberspace. The cyber warfare playing field is level. Anyone, anywhere, with nothing to do, living in their mom's basement, can be a hacker nowadays. You can get Eternal Blue stuff. You could ask ChatGPT how to theoretically, for a research project, create malware for you, and it will vomit back a response. Everybody everywhere is a potential cyber warfare actor. We have to accept this reality. We can't keep thinking about cyber as like the IT thing. We are engaged in a warfare and a combat fighting space, period. Last year, about 50 Americans that we know of, which is 50 too many, died because they were unable to get medical care at a hospital. 140 plus healthcare universities, or excuse me, healthcare organizations were hit and brought down for days on end. Imagine you're trying to take someone in for cancer treatment or for an emergent care thing, and you can't get in because the systems are down. People have died because of cyber warfare activities. And the folks in Washington go, well, what's critical infrastructure? Critical infrastructure is this type of stuff. Let me change the way that you think about cyber for a second. If a bunch of Russians in a Spetsnaz plane flew over central Kansas and parachuted out and took over a hospital and killed 50 Americans because they wanted to do something, we would be going hardcore into Russia. If a Chinese boat full of Chinese national PLA soldiers showed up on the shores of San Diego and they rushed up and took over a pharmacy where people couldn't get their pills, guess what? We engage in conflict. That's how we need to think about this space. Otherwise, we're delusional. We are engaged in a combat war-fighting domain. The US government declared it that way in 2010, and we spend billions and billions of dollars to try and solve a problem where the guy before me literally told you the simple stuff makes the biggest difference. People use shitty passwords. I know, breaking news. People click phishing links. Breaking news. Change the way that you deal with the problem, and you don't become the issue. Get forward, get ahead of it. We've got enough cyber, by God. There's so much cyber. Like, it's crazy. I love going to RSA every year, other than the meth-riddled zombies, but I really love going to RSA because you see more stuff coming into the space. I keep track of this stuff. Richard Steenan, who's a genius, keeps track of this stuff. There's thousands of vendors that have solutions to solve problems. How many ways do we need to solve somebody not logging in the wrong thing, or a multi-factor auth, or whatever? We're generating and building a market because there's a market to be built and generated. The VC homie Patagonia wearing vest people in Silicon Valley, anybody in here like for that? All right, cool. No Patagonia vests? They're investing in this space because they can continue to make money on the far end of it. They're not really concerned about how cyber secure we are. They're concerned about, will I get a 35% growth rate year per year because that's what I expect? Here's $100 million. Oh, you're at 8,200, you swept the floors? Great, here's $150 million. That's the space that we're living in. If you're thinking anything else, you're delusional. Like, this is a money-making space for people that want to make more money, and maybe you solve some cyber along the way. There are good solutions, but there's also a lot of junk. Statistically speaking, and if somebody wants to argue with me about the data, please let me know where the bad man on the slide touched you. Really, this is where we're going to get. We have invested more money over the course of the last 5 years to solve a problem like cybersecurity than we have for specific research to cure specific types of cancer. In a minute, I'm going to give you a QR code, and you can actually go look at my research that backs all this stuff up, but that's staggering. As a market, we have invested and taken in more money to solve a finite problem like cybersecurity, like idiots clicking on phishing links, than we have to cure cancer. Cancer will kill you. Cyber can kill you, but it's probably not going to. We need to put more money where? Finite problem. Again, if we're doing anything else, we're delusional. And I'm going to say that a lot because I'm trying to get that point across. Like I said earlier, the data tells us that we have basically democratized hacking. Everybody everywhere can be a hacker. I would hope that when I did this analysis that those two lines went totally off of each other. What this means is everybody's got nation-state tools, techniques, and capabilities at some stage. Vault 7 leaks, Eternal Blue, the new stuff that's leaking out all the time, the guys that live in their mom's basement drinking too much Monster that have nothing to do. Everybody everywhere can be a hacker. The nation-state level capabilities are very, very real. You don't have to be a computer science doctor to do this stuff anymore. And it's going to continue to be more democratized and more prolific. If you think that you're going to be able to stop people from clicking phishing links, go look at the deepfake stuff. Right? There's been organizations that have traded away hundreds of thousands of dollars, like the guy from Kaseya was saying, even though they called, because it's a deepfake voice. And they go, yep, there it is. There are folks that are taking people's kids and kidnapping them and using their recorded voice to extort money from them while they're holding their kids in another place. Look it up, it's called cyber kidnapping. We are not in a good space if we don't change the way that we do this. What I mean is we need technical solutions that actually deliver value instead of more stuff for the sake of more. I hope in 5 years, if I get invited back, like I said, I may get thrown out of here. In 5 years, if I get invited back, that we see that trend is changing. We see that more money is going into curing cancer than we do into cyber. Like I said, there's a QR code. I promise I'm not phishing folks like I did last year. I swear on my kids, I'm not phishing you this year. There's the blog. Go look it up. Go tell me what you think. But the data is data. You can't argue with data. If we're going to communicate with aliens, it's going to be mathematics and data. That's all the truth there is. I'll give you another minute to click that. Popularity should not equal reality. Let's change our mind for a second and not think about cyber specifically. Let's just talk about the shenanigans that take place as people try and bring products into the population. Cigarettes, which I do see some people still smoking, tisk tisk, but hey, you're you. Tisk, tisk, we knew that cigarettes were bad in the 1930s. Doctors had started publishing research in the 1930s that cigarettes were causing cancer. It wasn't until 1964, 34 years later, when the Surgeon General finally got sick and tired of it enough to go, you know what, these cigarette things are kind of problematic, like we should dial back stuff, maybe put a logo or label thing like that. Reality is, that didn't change much because Philip Morris and those organizations make a lot of money selling people cancer sticks. So what did they do? Vaping is the cure. Oh, great, vaping will not only make you not die from lung cancer, which it could, which, hey, the vapors, like you be you, vape all day. But the reality of the marketing was, it will make you lose weight. It'll make you better looking, I guess. Apparently it'll make you super pale, which is weird, but there you go. The whole pivot was, if we can't sell cigarettes, we'll sell this other thing, and because people are willing to ignore the reality of what's going on, it'll work. And vaping became a huge thing. The moment they put in like root beer flavored whatever, that stuff took off through the roof. Root beer flavored cyber is the next thing I think we got coming. And don't trust the experts. Like, don't trust me. I'm a doctor. My kids say I'm not the useful kind of doctor, which is totally fair. I'm a computer science guy. Don't trust the experts. Question them yourselves. Do your own research. Think for yourself. Because if you're thinking that these organizations that tell you about the research and analysis have everything covered all the time and that there's no business behind it, you're delusional. The doctors were marketing cigarettes for a long, long time as healthy. It was a great way to lose weight. Dying of cancer is a great way to lose weight. And then they said, okay, well, that's kind of risky. Let's put a piece of paper on the end of it, and everyone will be healthy. There's a business behind all this stuff. How many folks in here have got a subscription to G2 or Gartner or Forrester or 451 or one of those? I used to work there, right? Like I said, I'm going to get beat up before I leave here. The truth of the matter is, you should question those folks. There's a business behind what they're doing. If you look historically at who's top right in a lot of those reports, well, gosh, there's a pretty clear trend. They're top right every time. Wonder why that happens. It's kind of crazy. Oh, but by the way, those are publicly traded companies that have shareholders who expect a return on that. There are CEOs whose livelihoods depend on that business growing. And if you track the data, they grow. So what does that mean? They're selling. And I can tell you from personal experience, if you're writing one of those reports and things don't go the way that the vendor wants, it gets real unfun real quick. It's kind of like your wife nagging you, but worse. And if you think Gartner's in your favor here, like anyone creating all these acronyms, that's them. Like seriously, 5,000 plus in the book that they published. Why would you do that? Well, you would do that so you look really smart and you say a lot of things and people think you understand what you're talking about. But the truth of the matter is, you confuse the market with new stuff so that you can continually innovate, get more money, and grow. That's why they come up with a new phrase all the time. I loved it when people were like, what do you think about SASE and zero trust? I was like, SASE's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. SASE is the honey boo-boo of cybersecurity strategy. But thank you, Gartner, for coming out with that, because I was like, I'll be in a room of 100 CISOs, and I'll say, who wants to say they're SASE? We learn things over time, and we're going to continue to learn things in this space. Folks will go, well, there's a problem with defining this as this and whatever else. No, we're going to change. We've only been doing real cyber here for a few years, to be perfectly frank, like a decade, as far as a focused cyber operational research, component growth, et cetera. Just like sugar was a thing for a while. I love that it says it's smart to stay slim and trim and eat more sugar. But guess what? Over time, we learned that sugar is probably not the best dietary supplement for people to have. But again, people were buying lots of sugar because it was being marketed to them by experts and doctors and research organizations, including the National Institute of Health. Look it up. The point being, ask the experts questions, challenge them, do your own research, push back on them. I will tell you that a real analyst, they love it when somebody's willing to challenge them on what they're doing, on their research. They hate sitting there and having the folks just go, yeah, that's great, super. Challenge them. The Forrester cats that are here right now are like, oh, Jesus. Seriously, do it. The truth of the matter is our reliance on technology in a lot of these spaces, especially singular control points with singular vendors, that only do certain things at that scale is a giant, giant issue. 9/11, that is the air traffic pattern on September 11th, 9/11. Excuse me, September 11th, 2001. All the planes in the US stopped flying. 4,000 plus Americans died that day. That is the July IT outage that CrowdStrike caused. It is the same map 30 years later. 4,000 people die because of terrorist activities. 40,000 servers go down because CrowdStrike screwed up a patch. The reliance on technology in this space for singular fixes for things from vendors that own too much of the market is a very real problem. Did anybody else like me get stuck trying to fly when that thing went down? Yeah, if I had seen a CrowdStrike building, I would have set it on fire. The truth of the matter is, a lot of things get access to stuff that they may or may not need to get access to, and if they don't have a good way of keeping up with it and they can't scale and make sure that it's managed correctly, any solution in any space is potentially a weapon. I can use a shovel to dig a ditch to irrigate and feed people. I can also take a shovel and smash someone's skull in with it. That's pretty much what we're dealing with. If you're operating at the kernel and you're not taking care of what you're supposed to do, and you don't have good defense technologies and techniques, you're the malware, a la CrowdStrike. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt in this space is going to continue to drive bad decisions. And I'm not saying marriage is a bad decision, but I'm on marriage number 3. Maybe I'm the bad decision, actually. If you look at what De Beers has done with diamonds, they have marketed fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's why people buy diamonds, other than they're pretty sparkly rock. But the truth of the matter is, carbon is one of the most prolific elements in the universe. And yet we're running out because my girlfriend needs a ring. But boy, I better go get it because she wants it. And if I don't have it, I'm certainly fear, uncertainty, and doubt if I don't give her what she wants. Think about that in the space around cyber. When you're being told about all the malicious, bad stuff that's going to happen to you and things are going to go sideways, do you need a diamond ring? For your girl, you do, maybe if she wants it. But maybe you could get her something different. Don't decide based on fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Again, do your research, push the analysts, make people deliver outcomes and responses that you can trust. This is an industry built on monopoly. It's pretty crazy when you look at the data here. 72% of market share for computer operating systems, Microsoft. Palo Alto, 107 billion, 80,000 companies. CrowdStrike, we know how good they did. Fortinet, market cap. The truth of the matter is, the top 12 vendors own over 50% of the market globally. Now remember earlier when I showed you thousands of vendors in the space, the other thousands have to deal with that little bit, which is why we continue to see innovation and growth and more money and whatever else, because they're clamoring for the leftovers from the sharks. It's the truth of the matter. It's a problem. It shouldn't be this way. Back in the day, we used to call those monopolies and antitrust, and guess what? Congress would get involved and break them up. Go look up what happened to MCI and AT&T a long time ago. Nowadays, we don't do that because in cyber, it's scary. What if we knock over the internet? Ask George Kurtz, he's done it twice. Again, Cisco, big in the space. Palo Alto, big in the space. Everybody else gets the leftovers, and it continues to do this because guess what they do? When they see something interesting and cool come along and they think it could deliver market share, they buy it because they got that much money. And then what do? Sometimes they integrate it. Sometimes they just let it die on the vine because they're going to suck up that market share because that product is gone. Palo Alto Networks invested in $2 billion worth of acquisitions in under 2 years. There is no way in God's green earth that you could put that much technology in space usefully in that amount of time. So a lot of stuff died on the vine. Innovation actually is what's going to cure the limits that we face. The truth of the matter is we have to innovate to get past this stuff. Back to the thing I was talking about, De Beers and diamonds. Yeah, they can control the market, but the truth of the matter is you can grow diamonds inside of a building. If there's a way to innovate and do stuff quicker, better, smarter, we should be leaning on that. I think that there's a lot of good technology in the space. I think ThreatLocker is one of them. Like I said, go look at that blog. There are good ways to innovate and actually solve the problem, but it's going to happen inside of small companies that are going to do things that are going to make a difference because they know that there's an outcome and a market to be delivered to. We continue to grow and grow and grow and grow, like it's actually cyclic. More market size, more cyber. More market size, more cyber. When does it end? These are finite problems. Innovation, obviously, is not occurring at that scale. If innovation was occurring at that scale, this would not continue to grow like it does. We're addicted to tech, hardcore. Everything that we do, we need a solution for it, and it better work right now. And luckily, there's the folks out there, and I say luckily with quotes around it, luckily there's the folks out there that are peddling this thing as if you just buy a little bit of this and you start using it, man, it'll get better, I swear. Give us 55 licenses and we'll start there. And then the next thing you know, it's like, well, you need services on top of that. Oh, you need services, and then we need something else on the far end of it. It's just smoke a little crack, and you won't want any more. Certifications are not making a difference either. There's a lot of certified BS in the space. Most of the certifications that we need and have nowadays, with the democratization of technology through things like large language models, agentic AI, we probably don't need a lot of those certs. I think it's great you can get certified in technology, like ThreatLocker and some of these other ones, but as far as certs of general knowledge, why do I need you to have alphabet soup after your name when I can ask ChatGPT the question I would have asked you? And ChatGPT, I don't have to worry about whether or not it bathed yesterday. And look, in the space, certifications are not really making a lot of difference depending on who's doing the certifying. If they're making money on it, if there's dollars and cents behind the back end of this equation, the certifications should be questions at the very least. How many folks in here like to buy certified organic stuff? Certified organic, yum, 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 yum. I grew up on a ranch. I can tell you certified organic is nasty, right? We do things to cows with medicines and injections and whatever else that are certified organic that would make your skin crawl. Hashtag don't buy beef from me. But the truth of the matter is, organizations will issue certifications based on the business model because they have to grow too. This is a bunch of organizations that did certified organic stuff for people to eat. And then they got sued because actually what they were certifying organic was the crickets that they were grinding up to put inside of the food. Yum. Certified organic crickets as part of the meal to sell. But it was certified organic because I guess they had free-range crickets. The truth of the matter is, compliance and certifications and all those things, it's a paper whipping exercise. Every organization up there has spent north of $100 million in cybersecurity. Every organization up there was certified compliant, some of them 30 days before the breach, and every single one of them was breached. Compliance is the seatbelt on a 737. Got to have it to back away from the gate. Need it when turbulence happens. You slam into the ground at 400 miles an hour. A 3-inch strip of nylon being compliant does not make you walk away. That's just what's up. So that's the floor, not the ceiling. If your organization is compliant and you think you're straight, you're not. Do better. Compliance is the floor. And here's the part where I'm going to make y'all some money. Breaches are actually good for business. Let me say that again. Breaches are good for business. Stock values do better. And on my analysis, I'm beating like the people in Congress, so trust me, there's money to be made here. Look at Microsoft and CrowdStrike. They got breached. You see the dip. Guess what happens after the dip? The bounce. I have a hashtag that I put out there and I give this stuff away for free. It's called Buy the Breach. And I'll literally track 8K filings and I'll tell you when to buy a stock because it's going to come back and make you money. Look at Marriott and Equifax. They get bopped. There's the bounce. Make your money. Life is good. Hooray, huzzah. And it's not a little bit of money. This is my Buy the Breach portfolio I have going right now. I'm making money based on other people's failures because they ignored the reality of the problem and they were delusional to the point of about 16.97 per month and 18% over the past 3 months. That's better than any hedge fund manager will give you right now. And I'm making money off of failure. For me, I'm going to keep doing this because every time I see one of these big companies go off and say, we believe in privacy and we're going to secure your stuff and whatever else, and they get popped because some idiot clicked on a phishing link they didn't secure, I'm making money when that comes back around because by God, they will. If you put in $1,000 into Buy the Breach and let it ride just with this single methodology over the course of the next 3 years, I'll guarantee you a $42,000 return. Now, I'm no mathematician, but that's more than less, which is good. Money make me happy, right? At the end of the day, there's only one MQ that matters. You want to be top right? Be smart. Know what's going on. Understand the reality of space. Don't think about delusional stuff. Know there's real technology that actually solve the problems, and think about how the bad guys are going to come at you, and then defend forward going from there. If you ask me if I care if somebody says the strategy is zero trust, I don't care. Have a strategy. You can call it cyber tiddlywinks, whatever. Just have a strategy, have a plan, have good technology that ultimately will enable your business, your organization, or your customers to be better secure. And on a personal note, I'd like you to understand, I take this stuff very seriously. I think being secure digitally online nowadays is a fundamental human right. That's my family. They're good-looking people. I don't know how they wound up with me. The truth of the matter is, if we don't take care of us, something bad's going to happen to them. I need you. We need you. The space needs you. But don't be delusional. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was great, Dr. Chase Cunningham. Make some noise for Dr. Chase Cunningham. That was wonderful, wasn't it? Yeah.